Hello, in this video we're looking at the user interface and features of an UltraTouch DSS Analyzer. On the home screen we can see 4 tabs across the top which include Home, Outputs, Settings and Log. We can also see that there are 3 sensors connected, a pH sensor on channel 1, a DO sensor on channel 2 and a DO sensor on channel 3. We can see that the pH sensor is currently reading 4.68 pH, 23.1 degrees Celsius and 143 millivolts, as well as outputting 4.57 milliamps to the first 4 to 20 output channel. By clicking further onto the sensor, this takes us to our trend page. We can see those same values the sensors are reading on the left hand side of the page, as well as the trend period, which is currently a minute. We can change this to 10 minutes, an hour, 24 hours or 7 days, and we can see that on our graph the green line is a pH reading and our grey line is our temperature reading. By clicking on the calibration tab, we can see that there are 4 types of calibrations that can be done with a pH sensor: a 1-point offset standardization, a 2-point acid slope calibration, a 2-point alkaline slope calibration, and a 3-point acid and alkaline slope calibration. By default, the 2-point acid slope calibration is selected, and our first buffer is our pH buffer 7 for the offset, and our second buffer is pH 4 for our acid slope point. We also have advanced settings of stability threshold and stability time. To begin our calibration, we can click Start, and that will take us through the calibration procedure. On the Diagnostics tab, we can see a health score and day since calibration, and by clicking Diagnose, we can see the current health score of the sensor. This sensor is showing 100% and is excellent, and by scrolling down we can see the values. Health score, which is 100%, we can see that there's been 0 days since last calibration, the current calibration offset of 2.5 millivolts, the acidic slope of 61 millivolts per pH, and the alkaline slope of 55.85 millivolts per pH. We can also see days since the last offset calibration, specifically also the alkaline slope and the acidic slope. We can see that this sensor has been in service for 1 day. It is a pH sensor. The label and the serial number, as well as the node address, part number and software revision, are all listed under Diagnostics. On the Config tab, we can see our sensor label for this sensor on this device, its current node address, the dampener and output delay values, also the temperature compensation coefficient, and as well as the reset to factory calibration and reset to factory settings buttons. The reset to factory calibration is a very handy tool if a calibration somehow goes awry. Back to the Home tab, we can go to our Outputs page. We can see that this has 3 4 to 20 output channels in the analog. The first channel is pH measurement, and the output scaling is currently 2 to 14 pH. We can click on one of those boxes if we want to change the minimum value to 0 pH. We can select Enter and hit Save, and now our scaling will be 0 to 14 pH on the 4 to 20 milliamp. We can see that the status is currently connected. If we want to do a hot swap or calibrate a sensor, we can put that 4 to 20 channel on hold, and that is indicated by the status changing to hold and the box on the left showing us that channel 1 is currently on hold. Channel 2 and 3 are outputting normally. We can put all channels into the hold status by selecting Hold All, and as we can see, all 3 channels are now being held, and we can also resume all 3 channels by clicking Resume All. We can also see our digital outputs, and it's currently connected to our Modbus master, and the output hold is currently on. We can save that, and now we are outputting our Modbus RTU data to the Modbus master. Under the settings tab, we have the current date and time. We can change those settings by clicking in that box, and we can click on that top line to go to the year, the month, and then the day. We can also change the time by clicking in the time box and scrolling down or up to find the current time. We can see that this unit is currently set to data log to a 32 gig card at an interval of every 10 seconds. This can be changed from 10 seconds up to 24 hours. And we can also set an admin password by selecting that box and typing in the password. That will stop anyone changing any sensor settings or output settings that you don't want changed. We can also change from dark mode and back to light mode depending on the light situation the analyzer is currently installed in, as well as our Modbus RTU RS485 settings, which have the number of channels, the baud rate, the parity and the stop bits, and they will be needed to configure your PLC or data acquisition device. And we can also see the device information, software version, and subsequent build number and serial numbers that will be populated for each individual analyzer. And we also have a log tab which shows various messages, including when a sensor is connected or disconnected, when a device is powered up, when a sensor fails calibration. We can select the different categories of errors by going down the page on the left. We can see we can organize by errors, warnings, and messages, and show all together. And we can click on each message and see a little bit more information on what that message is in regards to.